So, what's worse for a narcissist, when you ignore them or when you block them? There's not a simple answer to that question, but narcissists really hate being blocked and they really hate being ignored for a simple reason, which is narcissists don't like to feel like they're insignificant to you, that they don't mean anything to you. And also, narcissists don't like when you take their control away from them. But if you kind of look at each one in part, when you block the narcissist, you're basically taking away their ability to contact you. You're taking away their ability to have insights into your life. You're making it very difficult for them to keep tabs on you. And narcissists really hate that because it shows that they don't have the level of control that they want in terms of getting insights into your life and having access to you. But sometimes when you block the narcissist, it does give them some validation, because by blocking the narcissist, when you block anybody, the whole fact that you need to block somebody for whatever reason shows that there's some level of emotion, some level of heavy emotions involved. Because you don't block people unless you feel strongly about them, for better or for worse. And narcissists, what they want is they want you to have strong feelings towards them. So in a way, blocking, while it does take away control, while it does remove their access to you, depending how the blocking actually plays itself out, it can sometimes give them validation and supply for a relatively short period of time, but it gives them that little boost when it first happens. But blocking, so there's a question around, well, should you always block the narcissist? Sometimes when you've broken up with them, sometimes going your own way, ignoring them and not blocking might be the best way. But narcissists very often have a tendency to harass people. They have a tendency to try to monitor what's going on, to try to sabotage things in your life. They want to influence things in your life for the negative. Whenever there's harassment involved of any sort, then you should block them and you should keep them away at all costs. And if you're ever feeling unsafe or creeped out by them, then you should go for a restraining order, because what a restraining order does is it makes it more problematic for the narcissist to take steps to intrude on your life, because it basically criminalizes that action in some ways. So blocking, I wouldn't always recommend that you block the narcissist if you've parted ways, if they've discarded you. But when they start to harass you, then yes, you should block. But what about just ignoring them? If you just ignore the narcissist, if you just kind of accept whatever they threw your way, and you just kind of keep it at that, then that, at least in the first instance, the simple ignoring without taking any drastic action is probably the most confounding, confusing thing for the narcissist at first. Because while they've been punishing you and they pushed you away hard, and they've done everything in their means to try to hurt you and break you down, because that's what they do to everybody, at least after a bit of time has gone past, you've taken a distance. They don't really expect you to go into a new place in your mind. They don't really expect you to go into this new space where you're, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming independent of them and independent of their influence. In their mind, they think it's a matter of time before you come back, either trying to get back together with them, trying to get some kind of closure from them, or if they've been smearing you and making stuff up about you and playing the victim of things that they did, they want you to come to them trying to get some kind of satisfaction and set the score straight. But when none of that plays itself out, because narcissists, they can only really be okay with your absence if the terms of your absence are what they expect. Things like, they don't expect you to move on. They expect the lack of closure to bother you. They don't expect you to really have seen who they are. They expect that you feel somehow you're the one to blame for whatever happened. They expect that you might fall into that self-blaming mode, might seek you to even apologize and see yourself as the culprit. So narcissists can do many, they expect a lot to unravel when there's time and distance between the two of you. And That's what I mean by being on their terms. But when you're ignoring them, not because you're ignoring them per se, but because you're simply focusing your attention elsewhere, then that starts to eat at them slowly and steadily. And it does reach that point where, because things didn't play themselves out in the way the narcissist expected, they do start spiraling in their mind into all kinds of directions, where on the one hand they feel like they want to take some kind of action to get you back. On the other hand, they feel like they want to take some kind of action to punish you. On the other hand, they think they should refocus heavily in some other distraction which is capable of absorbing their attention. And then again, maybe another part of them wants to kind of set some master plan to try to bait you in, or maybe they've pretending they've become this new person who knows the harm of the wrong of their ways, almost becoming this new saint, righteous personality, or maybe a bit of all of that. And that's what happens when the narcissist feels like they lose control. They really do spiral, and they go from many different extremes, like, putting all their focus and trying to make themselves look like somebody who's changed, somebody who's righteous, somebody who didn't really mean any of the harm they did to you, no matter how much harm they actually did. Maybe they try to confuse you and making you seem like the one who to blame for all that they did to you. Try to make you seem like the abuser. All the while, they're trying to bait you back in to emotionally attach to them again, to physically attach to them again, to somehow get back in their life again, somehow allow them to play a significant role in your life again. And it goes on. And narcissists, sometimes they don't really have any choice but to dive heavily in other distractions. But what narcissists do is, because they dive heavily in other distractions, they don't actually process and move on. Their core wounds and the whole thing between the two of you that wasn't really settled, while you did move on and you did process because you understood who you were dealing with, the narcissists never managed to, because they're always trying to gaslight themselves. They're always trying to suppress their emotions and feelings. They're never capable of looking into the mirror and looking into the situation for what it is, because that hurts too much. And that's the way they live their life. That's why they have to focus so much on distractions to keep their mind on other things. That's why they try so hard to demonize you, even if they don't have any basis to demonize you in their minds and to others. That's why they try so hard to get their flying monkeys and people who are enablers who they have in their vicinity, generally people who have a low sense of self-worth and self-esteem, who look up to the narcissist, to somehow massage the narcissist's ego and tell them that it's fine, that they didn't do anything wrong, that you're the problem. So going back to the initial theme of this video, what's worse, or if you block or ignore, and how do narcissists react? Look, they're both very bad for the narcissist. There can be slightly different dynamics attached to each one of them, but they're both very bad for the narcissist. And in time, it doesn't really matter what you do. In time, as time goes by, the fact that they're no longer a part of your life and you're doing things that don't involve them, and you'll never do things to be a part of their life again, it really eats at them. And again, it just means that they have to go into other distractions and spiral into those directions that I went through as the only way for them to cope with it all.